to be able to hire the students that we educate here in our colleges and universities and trade schools. We need an immigration system that works. Hello, my name is Matthew Galati, and I'm the chair of the American Immigration Lawyers Association Philadelphia chapter, representing over 400 immigration lawyers who live and practice in Eastern Pennsylvania. I'm here today to talk to you about what's happened these past 4 years, specifically with regards to business immigration. You know, a lot of people think that this administration has been great for business, but nothing could be further from the truth in the immigration perspective. It's gotten much more difficult, much more expensive, and much more lengthy to hire and retain foreign talent in the United States. Allow me to talk to you a little bit about what's happened over the past 4 years, how that continues today, and why I'm going to ask for your vote to end the difficulties that so many employers seeking foreign talent have been suffering during this time. Let's start at the beginning. Shortly after Trump was inaugurated, he enacted a new policy called Buy American, Hire American. Now, on paper, this might sound like a good policy. It sounds like it would raise American wages, sounds like it would result in the purchase of American products. But this policy, the umbrella of it, has been used to justify denials that are not in accordance with the law, new regulations that differ from the statutory text, and a whole host of unwritten policies and published memoranda that are unhinged from what we have taken as a granted for the past 30 years in immigration law. We like to say that Trump never got his physical border wall with Mexico, but instead he's built an invisible wall that has resulted in the sharp curtailing of legal immigration. A study just came out today that announced that we are down 92% this year alone in admitting legal immigrants into the United States under the current system. My colleagues in this video series will talk to you more about some of the humanitarian issues that the administration has created with regards to immigrants, but I'm going to focus on business. And so when I say legal immigration, I'm referring to the current set of laws and regulations as we know and interpret them. Why do we need immigrants in the employment-based context? Why can't we just hire Americans to fill these roles? And that's a great question. I personally think that most businesses, if they had a choice, would rather hire a US worker if they could, since they don't have to go through the immigration process. They don't have to pay fees for a lawyer or for the government to adjudicate the cases. The truth is that we have an employment shortage in certain areas. There's just not enough high-skilled workers to fill jobs that demand elite talent. If you look at the STEM fields, for example, there's not enough American workers to go around in these burgeoning industries that require STEM talent. And one of the great things about the United States is that we have a world-class, if not the absolute best in the world, university system. We churn out the best and brightest students year after year after year. And if they're foreign students, we need to retain that talent. We can't educate people and allow them to leave without at least giving them an opportunity to work here. That's kind of a reverse brain drain that we don't want as a country. George Will said immigration is an entrepreneurial act. Study after study shows that immigrants actually create jobs, at least under the American immigration system in the modern era, especially as many come in and wanting to do entrepreneurial tasks of themselves, either through investment or managing a new business. Immigration is incredibly important for our economy, and without it, we'll be suffering for generations to come. Let's start with the quintessential American visa, which is called the H-1B. An H-1B visa, you can think of it as a compromise. It allows high-skilled workers, people with at least a bachelor's degree in a specific field, to enter the United States and work, provided that an employer sponsors them. Now, in order to sponsor those workers, the employer needs to attest that they're not displacing American workers, or that attest that they're paying a minimum wage, which is known as the prevailing wage, a geographical analysis of what workers should be making in that area and in that line of work. The administration has, for all intents and purposes, declared war against this visa. Beginning when Buy American, Hire American was enacted, adjudications got much more stringent. In 2016, the denial rate for H-1B visas was only at 6%. Now in 2020, it is at a staggering 30%. During that time, additional requests for documents, known as requests for evidence, have also skyrocketed in the adjudication of cases. The Trump administration has got rid of a deference policy, meaning that if I applied for a worker 3 years ago, and now I'm trying to renew her visa on an extension, the government no longer considers the original approval to be relevant, and I have to prove everything from the get-go. Just this month, the administration has done what seems to be its most egregious action to date. Wrapping itself in COVID and the economic fallout that has happened as a result of the pandemic, the administration has enacted a new regulation without any notice and comment, any chance for public participation whatsoever, effective on the day it was published, that drastically increased those minimum wages, those prevailing wages, as I mentioned, in order to hire a worker. What does this mean? Well, for example, if you've ever visited a hospital in a rural area, you might be surprised to know that rural hospitals frequently hire foreign trained doctors. And as an exchange of being able to sponsor them for a green card, the foreign doctors pledge to work in the rural area for so many years. This is sometimes called a Conrad 30 program, if you're familiar with that. Well, rural hospitals, right, that already might be struggling to pay the prevailing wages for their doctors, have now suddenly, overnight, without any notice whatsoever, been now forced to pay doctors more the next time that the doctor needs his or her visa extended. This cuts across more than just doctors, though. Any kind of professional worker, be they IT workers or market research specialists, you name it, teachers, you name it. This sharply curtails American businesses' ability to hire foreign talent, compete in the global market space, and it was done without any kind of regulatory protections that are required to us under the federal laws. If there's one thing that has been a hallmark throughout all of these policies, is chaos. The Trump administration has enacted more policies, perhaps through the president's Twitter feed, than it has through the actual publications of notice and comment rulemaking in the Federal Register. Agency heads on background in numerous publications have said that they did not know about a certain policy, such as the ban against individuals from predominantly Muslim countries at the beginning of the president's term, and found out when the ban was announced or through media. There's been no collaboration whatsoever, no study of the actual facts on the ground before these anti-immigrant policies, which again affect businesses of all sizes, before they get announced and implemented. And it's been a real detriment to the American economy and for businesses to leverage that foreign talent. Beyond this, there have been a lot of other procedural issues that show that the administration seems to be aimed at causing the most damage to our system as possible, when certainly there could be better ways to limit those damages. Let me give you another example. Last month, as part of extending funding for the government, Congress passed a provision that would allow USCIS, the Department of Homeland Security, to raise fees on filing. Filing times take a long time. That's nothing new under the Trump administration, although it has taken longer than it did under the Obama administration. Usually you can pay a premium and be able to hire a worker in 15 days as opposed to many, many months by paying for something called premium processing. Last Friday, 3 days ago, at around 1 p.m., the administration announced that the premium processing fees would be doubled, and that would go into effect today, meaning less than 48 business hours. People and businesses looking to sponsor foreign talent now have to essentially pay double in order to get them to be able to get their visas and be approved for work within a reasonable period of time. Setting that aside as well is the actual process of getting visas. The Trump administration has announced policies that cancel practically all of immigrant and non-immigrant visa issuance abroad. And they've done this while wrapped in the COVID justification. meaning that consulates and embassies abroad cannot issue visas because it's too dangerous for them to open under COVID. Yet, despite the United States' lagging response to the COVID pandemic and the fact that conditions here, for the most part, are worse than they are abroad in most developed countries, despite those facts, all of the immigration offices have remained open since essentially early June. So the domestic offices are still open for adjudications, yet the administration is using COVID as a pandemic to close consulates abroad and not issue interviews for visas. In addition, there are very broad-based bans, so that if I wanted to hire a new worker from abroad, I can't do that and allow him or her to enter the United States because most non-immigrant employment-based visas banned, and virtually all immigrant green cards that arise through the business context have been blocked thanks to the president's orders in April and May. This is a mess. Business is not going well. Business immigration has suffered immensely at the hands of this administration. And for businesses to be able to survive, to hire and retain foreign talent, for us to be able to hire the students that we educate here in our colleges and universities and trade schools, we need an immigration system that works. The immigration system wasn't perfect before Trump, but at least we had an idea of what to expect. These days, it's been nothing but chaos and red tape and hurdle after hurdle for prospective non-immigrants and immigrants alike to enter the United States. It's time we restore decency and predictability to our immigration system, and I hope that you'll vote in the coming weeks to do just that. Thank you so much, and I appreciate this. Take care.